What's good with y'all? You know it's another vibey session of the Lions Den. You got your boy with your germ Zion. How y'all doing? To the left of me, I got
What's good, baby? It's your boy Trent. Always living, taking it easy day by day, spreading peace and happiness. It's your boy, it's Trent Falls.
and
Yeah.
who we got to my far left.
I do not have an intro like that. Yeah, they just call me Abe. I'm chilling out here, ready to drop some knowledge, talk about real shit, and really get into the deep shit for real.
Yes, sir.
Talk about it.
Yes, sir. So we was in a whole dialect exploration of our experiences, honestly. Um, this is specifically for the black man experience. Honestly, we were speaking towards. And, we just speak about our upbringing of like how we think that, I mean, it's a fact that your perspective really has a change on how you come out, how you maneuver around this world. And we were speaking about schooling. So if y'all don't mind, can y'all break down like what was y'all schooling perspective like, and then kind of just give an overview of that, just the history real quick.
Sounds good. So for me growing up, my parents had me in a charter school from maybe kindergarten up until sixth grade, and then later switched me to public school because their mindset was they still want me to be able to adjust in different environments. Because to be honest, the charter school I went to, it was me, my brother, my cousin, and maybe two other black people. School had just started, opened up. So we were the token black people, bro. To be honest with you, but it allowed me to experience some things that I wouldn't, based off of what we consider a cultural norm for African American male. But my parents also wanted me to still have a very diverse experience. So they sent me to public school later on, so I could still get the full experience. And for me today, I do honor my parents for that because now I'm able, like I was telling the bros earlier, is I can adapt to any environment. And people may say it's code switching or knowing different language, but I think it's a way of life. So I'm able to have conversations with a white person, Hispanic person, and still be the same person, but know the dialect and dialogue. And I think a lot of African American males or black males, we get fear from different rooms because people don't look like us talking different language. So I'm glad that's my upbringing, and I'm blessed by it. But I do think we can sometimes be the product of our environment if we don't know how to switch our environment up sometimes.
Real spit.
My upbringing was similar, except I started in public school, and at a certain age, my parents put me into actually private school for middle school, and then for high school, I was zoned for advanced. If y'all know advanced, my parents were like, nah. So put me in a charter school, and I went to Lake Norman Charter for like most of my high school. And being in a charter school, I think the school was 5% minority at the time, and that was like all minority. Like I think it was like 3% black, and so it was like a few of us, like you said, being that token black person. Like I experienced that more through high school than anything, and it did definitely give me that ability to be in more than one room. I think, but the biggest thing is giving me is like a different perspective on racism. I've definitely experienced racism as like being an African American a person, but I've also like seen more ignorance from white people than racism, and I understand that a lot of things that like black people point out as racism is more ignorance, and that's because I went to school with a lot of white people that show love but didn't understand. Feel me?
Hard. That's hard. So like y'all, I had the my experience was I started off in elementary school, and to my peoples they switched my zone basically. So they used somebody else's address basically for me to go to a different school, and this school was predominantly white, and it was in a wealthy neighborhood. And as I'm going through that experience, I learned how to be myself, like because it happened so early on. I didn't go through that thing of like even like getting into the corporate world of like feeling that code switch thing necessarily of like, okay, like I'm gonna switch to my voice or this. If anything, I'm just speaking more articulate at the time because this is how this person understands me. If I articulate my words and I'm able to communicate clearly, not only that, but I'm speaking with different age groups. You know what I'm saying? I'm speaking with 40, 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds, 70-year-olds. They not gonna know what I'm talking about. I'm speaking social media slang. Like some of them might be hip to it. It may be fun sometimes, but in regular communication, like no, that's not how I communicate. So my experience going through that school, it taught me how to communicate on that basis level. Because this is a predominantly white school, like there's not a lot of slang going on. But then at the same time, my neighborhood that I'm going back to and household is different. Because now I'm coming back to a half African household. And then on top of that, a neighborhood that, you know, has all different types of people. And that's more of where my slang came from and, you know, how I move and all of that. But what I would say my experience taught me was how to be comfortable in my own skin, even in a predominantly white environment, which where we got into where it's like, we really think that, well, I'm not going to speak for all of y'all yet, but I personally think that that has a huge effect on your projection in life if you're able to open up in those environments and you learn how to not really just be a part, because it's not really like trying to even fit in, but it's just how to find that comfort in an environment that somebody else might deem uncomfortable. Because after that progression, I went to all schools that were in my neighborhood, so it was hood schools. It was, you know what I'm saying, that's just what it was. And I was always the oddball in those schools, but then people were still attracted to me, and they knew that I still wasn't nobody to get over. But it was just a fact of like, dang, like because I'm such an oddball in this environment, this is also showing me a real life projection of maybe this is why a lot of my brothers get stuck in certain positions or they get stuck in certain lifestyles. And I'm sitting here thinking like, bro, do you not see like it's a setup? Like, do you not see that this projection is gonna lead you here? And so what's y'all thought on like opening up to having those experiences and maybe how it affected your projection as a black man here in America?
I would say, like, even before we break that down, we have to like really dive deep into it, because it's become a cultural norm where a black man can't be articulate. He has to, you know what I'm saying, know the slang. He has to dress a certain way. He has to, you know what I'm saying, be a certain way or a certain vibe. Because if you place an African American male or a black male in a room and he talks eloquently, then it's like, wait a minute. Who this dude? You know what I mean? And I think culture has now put on this stereotype where like we can't have educated conversations.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We can't have conversations that empower, because it's this facade. One thing we can focus on is booty, or you know what I'm saying, what's the latest shoes going on, because it's been a taught behavior. You know what I mean? And I think that's a system that we now have to break. That's just my thoughts. That's my 2 cents.
That's real. No, that's real. I love it. I love that question in general, because it's like it really touches on like identity overall. Like who are you outside of your race? You feel me? Like if you took away that label like of I'm a black person, like what else comes to your name?
Yeah.
Are you a hard worker? What job do you have? Like who do you have around you? You know what I'm saying? Like your character at the end of the day. And I feel like those are the things that people need to focus more on as identity than your race. Like instead of saying you're black because of this, this, and this. I'm black because my skin is black.
Yeah.
That's why I'm black.
Yeah.
Everything else that got nothing to do with me. I'm who I choose to be in this lifetime, regardless of that. I'm black.
That's good.
You feel me? Because at the end of the day, whether you deem me as black or not, that cop is still gonna see me as black.
Yeah.
You feel me? No matter how many things I got to my name, no matter how articulate I speak, it don't matter when that cop roll down that window and see my skin. You feel me? So I don't give a fuck what y'all deem as black. You feel me? But at the end of the day, like like you said, I've learned to be me regardless of that, because a lot of times I do go into black environments and they tell me I'm not black or I don't fit in. You feel me? But at the same time, I've been in white environments and they say the same thing. So it's like,
This is real.
it's real.
This is real, and it's funny that you said that. But just my skin is black. But me, identify me as a person, and this is something that I'll say, being able to learn how to function in those environments with different races, all this type of stuff. One, it allows you to be solid in that identity, because I think that in the black community, a lot of us use that as a safe haven to say, like, this, like, are you black enough type thing, where, like, we disassociate certain people because if we meet the black girl that talks like this and we meet the black guy that talks like this, like, when I went to my schools that's in my actual neighborhood, I don't know if y'all got it, but a bunch of black women always hit me, "Oh, you must only date white girls, huh?" When I never even dated a white girl. I've only dated straight black women. Like, I only been with black women and a Mexican. Like, what are we talking about? So, and it'll be funny because now it's like, so I feel like you're looking at yourself a certain way because I can articulate myself well, because I can dress this part, because I would still be in the hood wearing cardigans and ties and button-ups, because that's the swag that I'm on. I'm like, this is what I'm gonna be on till I'm an old head. Like, this is the type of stuff, this is good dressing to me. You feel me? I don't sag my pants. My pants is always gonna be up on my waist because there's nothing that doesn't feel comfortable for me. That's not my comfort. And so a part of that, when you said that, it made me also think about the fact of people having to claim an identity to feel safe, and then that being the fact of, like, people then complaining about other people not accepting what comes in their group of their identity. Because I started learning, when I've expanded to certain things, I like to listen to EDM music. Guess who'll be around a lot of EDM music? Some other white folk, some of the weird black folk, the so-called weird black folks, maybe some Asians, all that. There's some different people. But as I started seeing, like, I'm multicultural, I enjoy certain things and I embrace it, you get into different rooms. Rather than feeling forced, like as you said, to, okay, I gotta wear this, I gotta dress like this to be accepted. But a bigger part, stepping into the religion a little bit, we're gonna step into that, where it's like, with Christ, it's about being Christ-like. And that's the identity.
That part.
And before we gotta flip this, dog.
Oh, shit,
Alright, hot hour. Let's go. Let's go. Let's get the flip. Alright, we're gonna balance him.
The thing, I mean, even going based off, like, the whole perspective of, if we say, like, identity is based in God, there's many different layers of God. Like, in the Bible, it talks about, like, you'll never know God because that's how layered He is. And I think, from what I hear as having a conversation, I think we're in an identity crisis, not only as men, but as human beings. Because we're trying to fit one certain image or be one certain way. But if we're made in the image of God, that means we can have different identities and still be who we're supposed to be. So I think it's getting back to a place where we're able to understand, like, yo, I may not be like Jim. I may not be like bro, but it's still me. You know what I mean? Because it's different layers.
Right. Yeah, no, that's deep. Every step every choice you make in your life is forms who you are, and your decisions at the end of the day form your identity. Where the places that you choose to be, the person, like the rooms that you choose to be in, like what you want to be known as. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. I feel like having your identity, like, rooted in Christ allows you to exhibit, like, it doesn't matter, like, any of the characteristics that I'm drawing a blank.
The characteristics that what we have, that we maintain, it doesn't matter about the characteristics that we have.
No, I guess in comparison to the world in general, like, it gives a blanket, like, okay. It doesn't matter the rules or religion that you follow. It goes back to the same characteristics. That's what I was trying to say. Because if you have your identity rooted in Christ, you follow after His footsteps. There's lots of laws that say this and that and that. A lot of people debate things within religion all the time.
Right.
But if you, like you were saying before, if you have your identity rooted in Christ, you're following His footsteps, which is being a man of honor, loving others above yourself and then honoring God.
Right. And I feel that in the sense of, and I use the religion because I feel as though personally, and we had this chat in a personal Lions Den chat at one time, and I asked, do we need religion to maintain a sane society? And the reason why I brought it up was because when we talk about identity and we look at religion, it's as if we need it because we know we're imperfect as people. So when we say like, okay, when people switch to a certain religion, whether it's Muslim, Hindu, Buddhist, atheist, I don't care what it is, because atheism is still a religion.
Yeah.
All that stuff is still, you still believe in nothing. That's what you believe. But or you believe in science. But like my thing is, what comes with that belief is you're looking at something that is outside of you and something to follow, because you know you wouldn't be that perfect. So when people are choosing these deities and things and so-called maybe sacrificing the deities, or if this person says that this deity was my sacrifice, and because this being came as God and showed what a perfect man is and a perfect life is, I know I won't ever be that, but I will do my best to follow and achieve that, because I know that I will fail in my flesh.
Yeah.
And the fact of identity, choosing this identity, I choose this, and you keep choosing these identities rather than saying like, you know what, this is an ever flowing situation as I'm living this life. And do I want to just be better? Do I just want to be a better person? What comes with this better version of me?
Yeah.
What was the characteristics I embodied at my worst me? What came with that? What was the identities that I claimed? Because I realized when I became personally identified with following Christ in that way, it came with me having things done that was above my flesh. Certain things that I was stuck to in my fleshly matter, I now have to, because I identify with this, I look to scope higher and say I can overcome that, because it's been shown to.
So would you say that you choose your identity before you become it?
Yes, I would say so. Because it's something that, like you said, our characteristics, our habits, all these things come with aligning with an identity. And I think that it all comes with a choice. Like I spoke about this another time, like even love, I don't feel like love is a feeling we choose to love. Because I could have been, people don't realize some of the most loving people have been spat on, kicked, thrown away, like Christ, done been, through the ringer. And guess what they still choose to do? They still love. And that's a choice, so that's an identity.
I would love is layered. That's a whole different conversation. Love is layered. Like, you get to, I do believe there's a feeling that comes behind love. But I believe what you're like, to me, what you're describing to me is like the biggest example or the biggest way to demonstrate love is through sacrifice. And like, the only way, not saying that somebody can't love you without showing the sacrifice, but the only way to know someone truly loves you is through sacrifice. If you think about it, when two people come together, they put half of themselves aside in order to accommodate for someone else. I'm thinking about my wife when I think about me at the same time. If I'm thinking about she's hungry, I might give my food up for her. You feel me? I give my money, my time, my energy to make sure she's elevated, that to drive her to a place that make sure she's happy, and she does the same for me. Like that's real love. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To be real, a woman sacrifices her body when giving birth. You know what I'm saying? Like, and for the man to bear her child, like, it's examples of love, and the biggest example of love is Christ dying on the cross for us.
Yeah.
And that's how we know Christ truly loved us. And then that's the only way I can say I really love you. If I tell you I love you all the time, it's nothing until you see that I put my time, my energy, my money to help you out when I didn't have to.
Yeah.
You feel me? When there's no benefit back to me.
Yeah.
That's true sacrifice, and that's the only way to like truly know someone loves you.
Yeah.
Or that's the only way to show love for real.
And even going off that, bro, like before this dog, y'all know, like I used to preach. And like one of my second message I talked about with Adam and Eve, like that was one thing I kind of studied. Because 3 points move off from it. But Adam was asleep when Eve came out because God said like there's a need. Like Adam was in a relationship. Like him and God talked every day was homies.
Yeah.
But God was like, yo, you need something that I can't give you. Let me give you love.
Yeah.
Right? So that's point one. So he gave him love. Point two, he wakes up, he identifies like, yo, you're my help. So now he's on assignment. Three, this is where people get messed up. Like, okay, like she ate the fruit, this, and this. That was the ultimate punishment. The ultimate punishment was identity crisis. Because check this out. In the word, it says that God came looking for Adam and looking for Eve, and they were naked, but they covered themselves. And he's like, yo, why are you covered?
That's deep.
How'd you know?
Well, how'd you know?
What?
How'd you know who you was? So that most of the time in life, if we look at the Bible, the devil, he attacks your identity. She ate the fruit, but now they're like, oh snap, like I'm not perfect. So I think a lot of things, like before we move with the love thing, is like we gotta be careful of like what tries to throw us out of our identity. Because God still loved. And be like, yo, like you messed up, but why are you covering yourself?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's something I had to type in here, bro. Because it's to me
So
that's the greatest love story is Adam and Eve.
Yeah.
This is real.
Yeah.
And he
So-
sacrificed his rib for her too.
Sacrifice, bro. Sacrifice.
That's word.
And so if we look at that then, and even in a religious perspective, I love how you put that because it places into a hot. We got a hot take, quick blaze moment right here. With that being said, of why knowing your identity and then covering up, knowing that it's like going back to the imperfections where we fail, we go through things that sometimes we're embarrassed of. But then look how life changes when you take that embarrassment and you accept it. You say, okay, this was me at a point. Cool. You only can move forward if you accept it where you're at and who you are, even at your lowest points.
Yeah.
So even when you're going higher and you realize like, wow, like the new me takes this. We start to realize the stuff that makes us our greatest us is stuff that we don't want to do. Our flesh doesn't want to do.
Yeah.
I want to, be healthy. I want to look good. Going to the gym is not something I want to do every day, all the time. But I know how I feel, and I know what it will do for me in the future. Doesn't feel the best. Being sore, all that doesn't feel the best.
And that's an example of self-love. Could still take sacrifice. You gotta sacrifice your time to get to the gym to work out in order to show yourself that you love yourself.
And so the big question here is, do you think that people in this generation, because now we're in a generation where even starting off with even genders, it's a big crisis where everyone has to, it feels like people are grabbing and finding identities to feel safe and to be identified with the community. In an age where small community isn't the norm anymore. Everything's large, everything's you're kind of put to yourself, but then you see the masses views and you gotta find a community to run to feel safe. Do you think that that's harming us? Or is that moving us forward to choose an identity? Or should we just continue to just live as is?
I think it limits the identities that people choose.
Can you elaborate on that to me?
In terms of like thinking bigger.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like really finding really dreaming bigger with your own potential and like who you could be. Like, you feel me? Like I think the hive mindset is really detrimental when we like try to limit identity. If that makes sense.
Box and limit identity. So like in a way of like, you think it's harmful when we do try to find an identity to grab to. Do you think it's harmful?
That's hard, man. Because like we said before, you need to aim towards something. Like if I want to be like Jesus, I have to then know who Jesus is in order to like walk in his footsteps. It's the same if I wanted to be the president. Like, what are the steps to take? I need to talk like a president. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, we form our identity. Like, why can't I be the president talking like the way I talk? You know what I'm saying? So that's I don't know. Like, what do you think? I'm not gonna sit here like I know the answer. But
This can go deep.
we can go deep with this. Is it harmful? Like,
I don't. I see two perspectives. I think honestly, we got to know ourselves first, and I think a lot of people are living in identity crisis or imposter syndrome is because they're rushing to find friend groups or circle groups. They don't know themselves yet. So now you're basing your identity off these people you're around, and it's not really you. You upset with these people. You're like, oh, they doing this, and this. The problem's not them, it's you because they know themselves. And I think a lot of people, even myself, I had to struggle with. It's like I didn't know myself yet.
damn.
And I think the most powerful thing for a man, a woman, whatever you call yourself is you got to find yourself. And like even thought biblically, like Jesus' ministry didn't start till he was like 33. He went missing. He was finding himself. He had 12 disciples. He was only close to like 3 or 4 of them. He was still finding himself.
Yeah.
So I think it's harmful when you push yourself to environments without knowing yourself first.
But how do you? That's facts. But how do you say that when we live in a digital society? Because it's not even about being in a physical environment. It's about what you expose yourself to on social media. It's about the seeing celebrities and forming your identity of them because of what the media portrays their life to be. So it's like, how can you guard yourself when we live in this digital society where we rely on social media, we rely on these different things, and we're intaking social and digital environments? Like,
Well, let's break down the word. It's an identity.
Come on.
So now let's think about it. How Brother Trent's speaking, it's a thing of right now, and comparing to what I was speaking on earlier, some people trying to find an identity in a group first for comfort.
It's crazy.
Real talk, like, so when people are seeing stuff, they're like, oh, I like a little bit of that, I like that, or those people look cool, oh, they look fun, they look safe, I want that. And they see the group embodiment of what is just a manifestation of identities coming together. But how could they come as, a sacrifice, if you will, if it's real love? What are they gonna bring to the group as a sacrifice if they don't even have an identity? They're coming to kind of like mock and pick up. Oh, they do this, they do this. Okay, let me do that. Kind of like how we grew up, and you saw those like all like them corny ass Disney TV shows, and you'll see like the group of jocks, or you'll see the mean girls, you see the cheerleaders. Like you see these groups of people, and then there would be somebody that's out there and was like, they would see some of the perks and all this type of stuff, but they're like, how do I embody that and be that? And I think that's where we fail when we look at other flesh. To sit there and say, I'm gonna align with that flesh. That's why I think that we're going to it be coming back to religion, but it's like, that's why I do feel as though like you need that higher view to realize like, okay, like, no, this is bigger than me, like, to really find me. So now I'm bold enough because I'm finding something that's outside of me, that's outside of anything. I don't want anything from anybody. So now it's, what is that thing that's outside of me that's gonna push me to say like, who is I? Who am I? Who is I? Who is I? And NASA, don't tell me. But like, just who am I? And bracing on that identity to fully accept that and strap in for the ride of finding that first, to then come out and be secure in my identity.
Secure.
I think it goes back to self-love. Like, loving yourself enough to like accept your journey and where you've been, the regrets that you've had, and then loving yourself enough to sacrifice to reach that identity that you want to be, because it takes discipline, and that takes sacrifice. Like I said, like if you want to be fit, you gotta go to the gym. If you want to be a disciple of God, you gotta study your Bible.
Mm.
You feel me? And a lot of people don't. A lot of people say they love God, but they don't sacrifice in order to show it, like
Yeah.
to show God in general, or to have that relationship with Him truly. And it's the same thing with like anything that you say you love or you want to be, or that you believe yourself to be. Like, are you putting in the work to be that? You know what I'm saying? And so it all goes back down to like self love. Like you have to love yourself enough and to be comfortable with who you are and where you're going and who you want to be. Because I even bring this down to a personal level. Cause we talked a lot of like in like a general sense. So me personally, I battled with the fact that I didn't go to college for the longest, a university, because I saw like the college life in general, just having those groups, like getting out there, getting lit, whatever college kids do. I ain't even gonna go into all that on camera, but you know what I'm saying. Like just like having those years to just be free and do that. But I envy that for the longest, and I look back and I was like, nah, like hold up. I saved hella money. I don't have any school loans. Like I went to CPCC, then I went to Year Up, and I got a internship to a full-time job, and I was making money like a year after like I graduated. So it's like I had opportunities people didn't. Then I traveled the world, and through this whole time, I'm over here like envying people who went to college, and I'm working this. Like I ain't gonna lie, but making a lot of money. Like people coming out of college are still looking for jobs to make the salary that I made, going straight from a community college, like from that internship, and then being able to like travel. Like I've been to Japan, Italy, like what's it called, Greece, Puerto Rico. Like I've been around the world, like for real, and all around the United States too. And it's like I'm over here traveling, living my life, looking at other people and like, damn, I wish I could have went to college. You know what I'm saying? And then it wasn't until I look back on my life, I'm like, dang, I had an opportunity that they didn't.
Sheesh.
I had a salary at an earlier age and early years, and then was able to like to travel, and then also I'm still getting lit. I'm just not getting lit out of college. Like I've partied all around college. I mean, Charlotte, I partied all around like different, like Miami, LA, New York. Like I've been, I've had my fun during those years, and it wasn't until I look back and was like, okay, like let me love the steps that I took. Like even though I regretted the fact that I didn't put in scholarships and then I didn't like choose to go to college at the time, but I'm like, nah, let me love the path that I took and who I am now. I love who I am, and I would not have been here if I didn't take the journey that I took. You feel what I mean?
Identity.
And the identity at this point is it's like in order to form my identity, I had to let go of my identity.
Sheesh.
You feel me? I had to let go of who, like this image I was trying to be, and like the experiences I was trying to have, and just like live. And then who I am is my identity.
Yeah. Question though, before you move on, because Germ knows my testimony. So like I was sexually abused growing up.
Right.
So like, I was molested by my god cousin, and so for a while it put me to this place of lust, and I had to learn how to like not only forgive my past but take ownership of my past. So like for you, based off like your college, like how'd you find a way to fall in love with your past based off like, okay, I did envy you, but now I love my past because it set me ahead. So how did you go about that process? If you have already.
Oh man, the process. The process is. I don't know. Like honestly, the process, it took time. Like it took time and like a lot of self abuse.
Yeah.
You feel me? A lot of like treating myself unfairly until I realized like it wasn't going anywhere. Like it had to change. Like I don't know. A lot of self reflection, a lot of depression, like a lot of trauma. Like I ain't gonna lie, like the story don't end there. Like it definitely gets deeper. But the process is like failing forward because it's been many times that I tried to love myself, and then like I did it, and then so it's a mindset. Like I had to put myself in constantly on a daily basis, and some days you don't meet that, like and every day like you get stronger at keeping a certain mindset, and that's with everything.
Yeah.
It's like it's not just that. Like everything is a failing process. That in order for you to get stronger, I think a big thing is dealing with addiction. Like I battled with weed for probably like it was freshman year. No, I was it was my middle school year right before high school. So I don't even know how long that ago that was, like 9-10 years. That's when I started smoking. Ever since then, like I have not gone longer than like 5 months without smoking. Like it's all, and there have been times I've been abusing that shit, and it's been years on years on years that I tried to stop. And I get closer every day. Like I could say, like I've gone longer. I'm getting longer and longer every day because at one point I was smoking like 7 times a day, and now I'm smoking every now and then. Like it's really like once in a while. So it's like, but that took years of me like continuously saying no. I'm gonna put it down. Like I'm gonna like not cop. I'm not gonna like get the supplies. Every time it's just a cycle, and sometimes and it gets longer and longer. So I fail forward, and I do that with my mindset as well, because depression is a real thing.
Yeah.
And it's honestly a trap. Like it's a cycle. Like it's about like not having self-love that gets you trapped in the cycle of depression, because you continue to beat yourself up, and because you're not meeting the standards, you continue to beat yourself up. Like it's a cycle. I used to say like it's a battle really between discipline and mindset. I have a mindset of being this type of person, but if I don't have the discipline to match, like I'm never gonna be that person. If my work ethic is below standard, I either have to change my mindset to my work ethic, or I have to change my work ethic to my mindset.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me?
Yeah.
And it's that choice. And I sat there for a while. I was like, if I allow my mindset to come down to my work ethic, I'll be comfortable with being a bum. And I can't do that.
Yeah.
Let me.
I was like, the only thing I can change my circumstance is if my work ethic matches my mindset. That's the only way I'm going to be successful.
Yeah.
So every day I just push myself to make my work ethic match my mindset. Mentally, spiritually, physically, and emotionally.
And with that, I do want to say we can move on to the part 2 of this series, but wrapping up on identity, fellas, I think that y'all all had amazing perspectives. Honestly, I think that's gonna carry out with a lot of people, but I do want to shut down this part of the episode and let them know to tune in to part 2 for the next subject.
Word.
This has been the Lions Den Network.
Yes,
John
sir.
Zion.
It's your boy Trent, always living day by day, keeping the peace. It's your boy Trent.
Yes,
It's your boy A. Jenya.
Tempo.